You're looking at a living live blood specimen under dark field microscopy. The magnification is about 1,000, maybe 900. Now I want you to note the absence of spirochetes in the blood or bacterium. I want you to notice that the reflectivity. I want you to take note of how much light is coming back off all of these cells. There's a couple white cells there, and lots and lots and lots of red blood cells. Because what we're going to do with this specimen is we're going to add a drop of copper 1, ionized copper, and water. Naturally, what you see is a flow taking place, and every single red cell that is teardropped in shape has a spirochete that infects it. This video is going to amaze you because this shows you the weaknesses and the strengths of many therapies that are being used. If you don't treat the inside of the red cell, you're going to run into problems. And I also want you to note how bright now all of these cells have become. They're glowing twice as bright, the white cells sometimes 3 times as bright as the frames I originally had just shown you. Once the current dies down, once the water flow slows down, you can see there's spirochetes wiggling, squiggling in longer chains in the bloodstream that were not visible before you applied the copper specimen. Many things ejected from the inside these cells that looked awful lot like spirochetes. The teardrop shape is due to a spirochete. The incredible thing about all of this is it's so beneficial in what it is telling us about this disease. This is the exact moment, an amazing piece of footage. This is the exact moment that the spirochetes were leaving the red cells. And you can see strands coming off those red cells, because what happens is the minute the spirochete hits the bloodstream, the copper attaches to one end like a magnet, and sooner than later the spirochetes end up attaching to one another in very long strands, connecting together like a set of bar magnets. They become immobile, they become much longer, those strands, and those white cells that are growing right before you from absorbing so much copper latch on to those strands and draw them in. The number of spirochetes is astonishing in this person's blood. This person had a 70% infestation and appeared pretty healthy. Now this specimen is of the same individual prior to the administration of the copper. You see before you a neutrophil, a white cell that's antibacterial. It appears to be more active, very active, and which is kind of unusual, but you have to understand there's such an infestation that these cells should be somewhat activated. The biofilm in spirochetes protects it from the immune system, but this white cell appears to be trying to make its way to the bottom of the slide, where a bunch of infected cells are clumped together. Notice how the white cell can change shape, elongate, push forward, backwards, crawl, and roll. It's an amazing structure, a white cell, in the bloodstream, they are more prone to rolling along the edges of your blood vessels or crawling along the edges of your blood vessels instead of just free floating through your bloodstream. And that white cell, when it was exposed to copper, absorbed so much copper that the nucleuses tripled in size. And you notice you still are not seeing a whole lot of spirochete activity. So that gives you proof of how many spirochetes are actually in this specimen and hiding inside the red blood cells. Now remember, fatigue is the #1 symptom, the first symptom of Lyme. And if your red blood cells are infested with a spirochete, you can understand how they may not be delivering the oxygen they need to deliver to your brain and to your bone marrow and to your organs. But once the copper was administered, everything glowed brightly, and you could see even pieces of copper attaching to the outside of some of these cells. But the spirochete chains were amazing. You can see them right here before your eyes. But notice how bright some of these cells have become. They're absorbing ridiculous amounts of this ionized copper. And these strands, just the longer you let the specimen sit, the longer those strands become as these spirochetes link up end to end. This is why people don't get rid of their disease. There's a second reason. It's called biofilm. So stay tuned for that, because we got some great ideas on blasting the biofilm. So we wish you a happy holidays. We bid you peace. But most of all, we bid you good health. This has been a Higher Truth production.